What's up, everybody? Let's get into this video. So today I'm going to be doing a review on NQ futures. I want to talk about today's price action. Today um I had some turbulence, to be honest, you guys. I had a win, I had a loss, almost blew my account, and then I ended up making 71. Wait a minute, give me 1 second, because I'm in a truck stop trying to do this video, and they're calling out the showers. I'm a truck driver in real life. All right, so like I was saying, I had a win, had a loss.
Customer 72.
This may not be the best place to do the video at, you guys, but I ended up making $10,447 on my last trade, which allowed me to take my first withdrawal today. It's still pending, but I'm hoping that maybe I can get that by sometime in the morning, because you guys know that FunderPro, they do daily withdrawals, right? So if y'all interested in using FunderPro, make sure y'all use code trucking, all right? Code trucking for FunderPro. Get your daily withdrawals. You get the better. You get more risk. They do 5% daily drawdown, 10% overall drawdown. All right. So let's get into this price action. So today, when we went into the market, the first thing I was noticing right here was these relative equal lows, right? And I knew that was going to eventually be the draw on liquidity. So I had, let me not move that around too much. But essentially, I had a blue line like this on this liquidity, right? So as the market opened, I had a Fibonacci tool on this candle right here, right? This 1 hour candle right here. So I had my Fibonacci on this 1 hour candle, because I knew that the market was going to fake some people out and act like it wanted to draw down into that liquidity, but it wasn't going to be ready. So let's drop down into the 1 minute time frame. Let's drop down into the 1 minute time frame, and then we're going to look at some price action, right? So notice right here, my vertical line, that's 9 a.m. We're going to move that to 9:30, right? So when the market opened, we started to come down from this 30-minute inversion fair value gap. We was coming down a little bit. Then right here, we made the first presented fair value gap. As you guys can see, I have that labeled over here. And then notice how when we touched that wick on the 1 hour chart that I'm showing you guys right now, right? So this blue line is the top of my fib, and then the bottom of my fib. This orange line is like the 25% level. This yellow line is the 50% level. This other orange line is the 75% level, right? So price was bouncing around off of this wick, and I honestly wanted to take that buy. I did take a buy about right here. This was like my first trade, but I was a little bit scared because it wasn't really moving as fast as I wanted. What I was going to target is, let me go back to the higher time frame. Remember, you guys, I got a whole video on wicks, right? I got a whole video on wicks, man. So make sure y'all check that out, because I use wicks a lot, and it's something that I always tell people to use when they're trading, right? Not everybody does it though. So I believe it was this candle right here, this 2 a.m. candle. This one right here haven't formed yet. Over here at 6, this one did not close on. This is a 4 hour time frame. So this 6 o'clock candle did not close yet. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my Fibonacci tool right here, and then I'm gonna measure out this wick right here, right? So this is everything that I was doing when I was in the market, right? When I was looking at the market, doing my analysis. Now we're gonna drop back down into the 1 minute time frame, right? And I know it probably look a bit confusing right now, but just work with me, right? Work with me. This is the actual chart that I trade off of. Normally, when I try to do these videos, I try to, give y'all a cleaner chart so y'all can be able to keep up with me, but just work with me, all right? So let's put this vertical line back on our 9:30 candle so we can know where we're at, okay? Now, like I said, price started to come off of this. I was looking for a potential buy, And what I was looking for, you guys probably can't really see it that well. I was either looking for the market to go up here to the midpoint of that wick, essentially on a 4 hour or the 1 hour. I got too much on my chart, so even I'm a little bit confused right now, you guys. So just bear with me. Okay, there it is right there. I had to delete one of my Fibonacci tools off, right? So as you guys can see, this little sky blue line right here is the bottom of the fib. I'm sorry, the bottom of the wick, right? And then this sky blue line up here is the top of the wick, right? And then we got the 25% level, then we got the 50% level, then we got the 75% level, right? So when I was looking for a buy in here, I was going to at least target this 50% level, because I also seen that there was liquidity right here resting above this 50% level, you guys. Now look, I know I'm moving a little bit quick, but just try to bear with me. I'm inside the truck stop. I don't want to keep getting cut off by the showers and everybody else, right? So I was looking for, at maybe in my mind, I was thinking maybe we're going to go here and then drop off. But ultimately, I also seen this liquidity over here, and I kind of knew the market more than likely is going to want to take this liquidity first before we see any type of big drop off, right? And that's eventually what happened. So I took a little scalp. I made about 300 on that buy, and then I didn't get in again. At this point, I was up about 1,400 bucks. And then, I missed this whole run up because this was choppy. And, even when it ran up right here, it came right back. So, that's the type of price action you're going to get on NFP week, right? But eventually the move did happen, right? It got through the first presented fair value gaps, right? Broke above, came back and retested, and then shot off to the moon. Now I could have took it that broke and retest, but at that point I was like, no, I don't really trust it. I don't want to keep getting faked out, because I also did not know if the market would want to sweep this liquidity out down here and then touch the midpoint of that wick, which is that yellow line right here, right? So I didn't really want to be. I was honestly, only looking for buys today, right? I was only looking for buys. I'm sorry, I was only looking for really sales, because I just pretty much knew that sales was going to be where the big and clean move was at, right? So eventually, we got up here, we swept this liquidity, and this is where I was taking my sales for my big entry, you guys. So, originally, when it hit the midpoint up here, right, I was looking for a turtle soup. It hit the midpoint, and I put my stop loss at about 100 points above. It was like all the way up here, so my stop loss was like very protected. But because I was looking for it to be like a turtle soup, like sweep this liquidity and start to instantly come back down, and it didn't do that. So at that point, I was wondering, I was looking all the way up here, and I was wondering, do the market want to go up here and sweep this liquidity, because it's literally only about 100 points away, right? So I didn't really know. I was kind of, freaking myself out a little bit. I didn't really know what the market was going to do. So I was getting chopped up in here, you guys. And this is how I ended up losing my 20. I ended up being down like 2,900 because I took it. Now imagine if I would have just left my stop loss alone, I would have never taken that loss, But this is what happens when you try to, have a really tight stop loss so that you can have better risk reward, so you can take more risk and possibly make more money, right? That's what was going through my head at the time. And I ended up paying the price for it because, as you guys can see, it swept this liquidity right here. It swept this liquidity up here. And then finally, after all of this, back and forth, it started to come down, right? And then I got in about right here because there was a fair value gap right here, right? There was a fair value gap right here. And I started to get in about right here at the top of this fair value gap, because I already know, based on experience and everything else, that when the market is getting ready to make this big run, if you don't get in, you're gonna miss everything. So I got in at about right here. I put my stop loss at about right up here, this most previous swing high. And honestly, I was just praying, man. I was praying that the market just kept going, because at this point, I was risking my whole account, right? So eventually we started to get the drop off. All right, we started to get the drop off, and then there was a on an hourly. I think I deleted it, but on an hourly, where is it? There was this little, right? This little candle right here on the hourly. This was a 1 hour order block. Okay, so I'm gonna delete this off my chart. I'm gonna delete this off my chart because I don't want to have too much on there. All right, I already have too much as it is. And then I'm gonna move this down here so y'all can see this hourly order block, right? Now let's drop back into the 1 minute time frame. Where are we? Drop back into the 1 minute. So as you guys, I'm gonna make this box, let's make this box blue, right? Because I want you guys to be able to see this box, right? So, you know, right here, I'm not gonna lie, I got a little bit nervous right here because we had this 30-minute inversion fair value gap. The market did have a little bit of a bounce off of that, and I was hoping and praying that that was going to be the only little bounce because I moved my stop loss to literally about right here, you guys. So I had moved my stop loss into profits like right there, and I didn't want it to go
Customer
up.
73.
I didn't want it to go up and stop me out,
Please proceed to shower
but I had to move my stop loss into profits so that I could protect my account, right? Because, you know, I was already down 8,000 on my account, and I was in a really good trade, right? When it was all the way down here, I was up about 4,900. So when it came all the way back up here, I was only up about maybe 1,800, right? So in order for me to go for the big move, I had to have some patience. And eventually it did come back down. And then you guys can see that little blue box I put on there. That was that 1 hour order block. We did crash through there. And then on that short that I posted a short showing my trade. You guys can see that I got out like at the bottom of this 1 hour order block. You know, it because at this point I didn't know if it was going to just bounce. I didn't know if it was going to crash through it. But my take profit was literally right here, right? So I probably missed out on about 90 or 100 points right there, right? But look what happened, right? Look what happened. It did all of this, came almost hit the take profit, never got there, did this big pullback, came into the first presented fair value gap. Just made a video about that. If you guys aren't using the first presented fair value gap, I don't really know what to tell you, right? So and then it stalled off in here. I thought about taking another sell from here, but at this point, I had already had my withdrawal pending. I didn't want to do anything to mess it up. So I just said, forget it. And then eventually the market did come down and sweep that liquidity right here where that little sky blue line is at, where we was looking for the entire time, right? So we eventually did sweep that liquidity and then instantly shot back up, made a fair value gap. And then right here, this is another first presented fair value gap. People say, you know, somebody left a comment on my video and said, it's a conspiracy. First presented fair value gap is a conspiracy. Bro, I got 3 first presented fair value gaps on my chart, and all of them respected price at one point. All right, so it's not a conspiracy, bro. You just gotta back test. You just gotta learn it. You gotta work with it, man. So then right there, they gave us another sale, and because really I was looking for this green box right here. So I'm gonna show you guys what this green box is right here. All right, this is a 1 hour inversion fair value gap. And then this red box right here, I'm gonna change it into a different color because we just had the market open and I had to put this new day opening gap on there. But then I was looking at this 2 hour inversion fair value gap, right? This is supposed to say inversion. All right, this was the inversion fair value gap. All right. So this was the target I originally wanted because if it could have just went straight to here, I would have made 28,000 on my account. Even where it went at the blue line, I would have been up about 20,000 on that right there. But like I said, I didn't have the patience to hold it. you know, after being down 8K on my account, I had to just go ahead and take the profits and just live to see another day, right? So, you know, we came back, we went into this, I'm sorry, we was up here. So after we swept that liquidity, price gave another opportunity to sell, but at this point, I didn't really know. I didn't really trust it no more at this point because, you know, we had liquidity up here. All right, I'm going to take this blue line off of my chart now. We had liquidity. I'm sorry, I'm getting lost, right? Came up to this first presented fair value gap. We sold off. We finally went to that 2-hour inversion, right? Then we bounced, had a little bit of a bounce, and then we just kind of stalled off for the rest of the day, right? So where I want to end this video at is here, right? First off, study ICT concepts, y'all. Think about this. I had like almost the top of the, you know, obviously I got in right here, but my original entries was like up here. I just kept getting faked out, and I should have just left my stop loss alone. But for those people who think ICT concepts don't work, bro, you're just missing out, man. You just have to study more. You have to work at it a little bit harder. It works. It takes time. You know, the more you practice, the better you will get at it, right? Um, but yeah, so for tomorrow, I just want to end the video off on this, talking about where I believe the market is going to go tomorrow. It all depends on how much price action they give us tomorrow. But I'm looking at you know, these previous lows on a daily chart. As I told you guys in my forecast video, I told y'all in the forecast video that I think the market is going to go down here. You know, I told you guys that already. If you didn't check that forecast video out, make sure y'all go check that out. And then the market could even possibly sweep these two daily lows as well. I don't really know if it's going to do all of that, but I'm fairly confident that this daily swing, not swing low, but that this daily low right here on this candle, I'm very confident that this low is going to be swept. And if it sweeps this, comes into this new week opening gap and hold up, and the price action is really strong, maybe, just maybe, you know, it may want to bounce all the way back up here. I wouldn't be surprised to see it bounce all the way back up here and close really strong to end the week. But I do think that, and you guys can already see, you know, it's 7:21. The market has already opened back up, and already we're getting already, you know, we had the new day opening gap right here, and we're already bouncing up, right? And look how it's respecting the first presented fair value gap from June the 3rd. All right, look at, you know, shout out to that guy who said it's a conspiracy, right? So what I'm going to be looking for the Asian session, maybe even the London session, is I'm going to be looking for price to come all the way back up here and sweep this liquidity. All right, we got all of this liquidity on at these, you know, swing highs up here. But I do believe on the hourly, let's look at the hourly.
Customer 74. Your
Or
shower
even,
is ready.
let's look at the 4
Please
hour.
proceed to shower 2.
Because what I'm going to be looking at is this big wick right here on a 4-hour time frame. And here's the reason why I'm going to be looking at this wick. All right, measure this long wick out with your Fibonacci tool, and look at that. The midpoint of this wick is right where this 30-minute inversion fair value gap. Let me show you guys that as well. This is going to be the last thing I show y'all. Right here, we had a fair value gap right here on the 30-minute time frame. Price broke through, never came back to retest. So I do think tomorrow, you know, before we see this liquidity down here get swept tomorrow, I do think we might pull back into this inversion fair value gap. Or if we sweep this liquidity first, go into that new week opening gap, I think this is gonna pull a price back up. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens, y'all. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in to this video, man. Make sure y'all drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to end this video because I am in a truck stop and it is very noisy in here. Peace out, y'all. See y'all in the next one, man.